talk about the criticality of the go-to-market piece of this, and from the time, when you bring the team in and when you start on that, to just, the criticality overall of
Yeah.
that piece of the integration plan.
Yeah. No, listen, and that's, I think, a great question, and I'm kind of, quite passionate about that one. So I think go-to-market, past once you've closed the deal, it's a strange one, because typically, if you think about the corporate development guys and the ones that I've interacted with, they touch on go-to-market as they're profiling and targeting customers, right? They're looking at, revenue, they're looking at customer cohorts, they're looking at a number of things, that products, channels. So they're looking at a number of areas, and it's quite often that kind of, once you've closed the deal, that kind of dies down a little bit, right? That momentum dies down. So coming back to the criticality of go-to-market integration, I think it's the first thing you should be doing, right? Because as I mentioned earlier on, if you think about why do we go and acquire a company, it's either because, we definitely want to get some fun kind of growth there, right? Some kind of inorganic growth. And you're going to do that by combining customers, by combining products, or by combining a certain skill set. But that invariably, right, depending on the deal or the deal of the nature of the deal, but in a lot of cases where integration is involved and complex integrations involved, it means you're combining customer bases and products. And therefore, you need to start with that. If you don't start with, well, what type of customer am I serving? What's my customer base? You can't then have the right discussions around what systems are required, what people and skill sets, what processes need to be combined. So, you often go into the operational element, the mid and back office integration topics around systems platforms, without really truly understanding, well, which customer base is this serving, right? So in my mind, you should always start with go-to-market planning, because that's part of your target operating model and your setup, right? You start with the customer, you start with the products, and then the rest of your organizational capabilities should align to that, right? And that's what you also do in its strategy. So I think it's fundamentally important to have go-to-market plans around integration at the forefront of any decision making, right? If you truly want to achieve, a customer success or a customer plan or a customer value raising, right? And that's my genuine opinion. But that's very much relevant where complex integration is required. If you're buying a company that you just need to bolt on because it's purely just a certain skill set, then you can have a fairly loose integration over there. And you can also leave their sales teams and their go-to-market teams pretty much untouched, because you want them to flourish in their own world, right? With a very loose integration. So go-to-market planning is really important. What's the consequences of not doing that, right? There's a number of things, right? I've seen this around. You can see customer service levels dropping. You can see customer attrition, they're defecting. You can see a bit of a blurred roles and responsibilities within teams, right? So you imagine you have two sales teams coming together, and then two related operational teams coming together. If you don't integrate the products, the offering, or at least come to an agreement of how you're doing that or when you're going to do it, you get confusion around roles and responsibilities, right? Your customers get confused around what are you offering them, right? Which brand are you? How is it? How does it work, right? So you can destroy a lot of value, right? And confuse, I think, not only internal stakeholders, but also confuse your partners if you don't start to think about go-to-market earlier in the process.